are going to be doing the world's most complicated analog-style roguelike adventure today. Today is September the 21st, 2023, which means we have, I was hoping to get to this edition of solo AD&D before today, because today is the day that most of our roster gets back into action. We have a total of 10 members of our A team, and today is the day that the best 4 fighters return to action. I wrote it down here on their character sheets. They are all healed up. They have spent, these guys were reduced to 0 hit points. They have now healed up to, hey chat, give me a sound check if you would. Let me know you can hear me okay. Even our cleric, Mr. Holy Man, the one guy who's not available is meh average, and you can see I have a little note here, 923, but I have a fascinating tool. Thank you, Ignoramus, for confirming. I have a wonderful tool that you can use to track who becomes available when. This is a high-tech, very detailed. I spent a long time developing this, and if I was a regular OSR content producer, I would tell you to join my Patreon for $10 a month so you can unlock this magic power. I would have a $30 hardback book that I would kickstart and hope to raise $1 million for a calendar. I'm not one of those guys. I'm just a gamer. I'm just a bro trying to help you out. Look at it. This just cost me $0. Don't tell the boss I printed it up at work. It's a monthly calendar for September 2023. Oh, wait a minute. Let me remember, we actually took a look at one of these. We took a look at one of these. I screwed this up originally. I used one of these. I'm a Aloha bro, and I used one of these originally, but I didn't notice that it was for 2024, which makes it a little hard to game in one-to-one time because the days are all off. But you can use any calendar you want. I just printed these off, and as you can see, it's literally just a calendar. Look, Mr. Lou, too advanced. Explain it again, but slower. Yeah, well, I'm talking to 5th edition players here. We're gaming at one-to-one time. For every day that passes in the real world, 1 day passes in our campaign. Let's take a look at our campaign so I can explain to you what we're doing. We're going to try to dive into the action a lot faster than usual. We spent 45 minutes just having a great time the other day. This is not our home hex. This is our home hex, and you can see, let's see if I can get a little closer. Yeah, there we go. So we got our town here is Corvusburg. This is home. And there's a little cave over here. This is the Cave of the Moneylenders, and it takes us about till lunchtime to get through the fields to the upper pastures. This is about 4 or 5 miles. And then we got to spend a half a day hiking. And what we do is we roll 1 check because we're moving into the hills. I'm doing things a little different here. I've got, basically it's a half a hex. This hex is 24 miles across. So this half of the hex is wilderness. This half of the hex is settled. We've got some hunting grounds. We've got a big lake. It's about 50 square miles. It's about 3 miles deep by 10 miles across. So let me see, 3 times 10, it's 30 square miles of lake. Bear in mind, it's about 4 or 5 miles across. You cannot see across this lake. It ain't nothing. It's a pretty big lake. It serves as a barrier between our safe haven and the Deadwood, which is Badlands way up here. Right, so we're gonna spend a half a day. We're gonna make it a check. And then in the morning, we're gonna go on our little delve. And however long that takes, we're gonna have to make another random encounter check to get back to safety. And if today follows our tradition, we will be all banged up, beat up, and we'll run into somebody on our way back. Now, I realized in our last episode, I was talking about adjusting these tables. These are our encounter tables. We randomly generated these in a previous episode. Go watch them all. And in the hills, this is the chart we roll on. It's 2d6, and as you can see, berserkers are fairly common. And I talked about adjusting these, but I realized, no. This is, for the campaign map, this is legit. But once you move on to the individual hex, now each hex can take on a life of its own based on what you encounter. So I built this encounter chart, which is very similar to what you see before. On a roll of a 2, you're going to go to the DMG. You're going to go to this bad boy, and you're going to roll. So we have the potential to encounter anything on the Hills random encounter chart here. On a 12, we'll use that special table with just the 6 possibilities. It could be a giant, equal chances of a giant, a dragon, summon monster. That's how we had a giant bear show up. Could just be loot laying around. But just real quick to walk through this, right? On a 3 to 5, we're going to roll per hills on the campaign map. We're still in the hills, so if we roll a 3 to 5, we'll roll on this chart, same as always. On a 6, we'll run into one of those warg packs that we've already run into. On a 7, we'll run into more berserkers. On an 8, we'll run into the big bear, Big Owen. He's in its 7 hit die cave bear, which is a little stronger than your average cave bear, which is already stronger than your normal bears. On a 9 or a 10, we'll roll on the woods. See, because there's some woods through here, so something moving through the woods. And then on 11, we'll do mountains, and as I said, 12 dealer's choice. So that way, this particular hex, we have a very good chance of running into something that we've already encountered. Of course, this whole area is called the Wolflands, and we're going to try to go full Roosevelt era and the good Roosevelt era Yellowstone and wipe out the wolves so that we can expand our cattle ranching. With all of that out of the way, we're ready to start our delve. And as I said, is there anything else I wanted to mention? I don't think so. Sound off in the chat. Thanks for showing up, guys. I really appreciate you. We got 15 in there right now, which is amazing. That's a fair point. Ignoramus says you ran into wargs. We're going to wipe them out. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. Something out in the real world is just killing my allergies. I took a Benadryl, so I'm high as a kite. If I forget some rules, if I do something silly, just verbally slap me around in the comments. I'm a big boy. I can take it. And, you know, if I'm going to try to be discreet, but man, my allergies are killing me. So there may be some muffled sneezing and coughing and hacking and in the background. And not the good kind of hacking as in hack and slash. Once again, we have a nice little hex map for our home base. If we need to know, so you can see we're here. It's about 6 miles to get over the hills, and then another 6 to get to the tomb of the moneylenders, or it's a barrow, right? That's what that says. And then when we get there, so let's just go ahead and check. Oh, I know what I wanted to mention before we do. Man, I meant to do this before we went live. Since we know who we got, let's run down the list as we prepare our marching order. As always, Bianca, it will be hard to sleep. Let's see, live chat. What do we got? We got some good guys. I'm telling you guys, read the live chat. If you're watching this afterwards, there's good stuff in there. Allergies are caused by wargs. Maybe that's what it is. Someone needs to put a bounty on those wargs. Well, yeah, but we're the someone, and we don't really have enough money for that yet. Solo RPG guy, hard to slap you from South Carolina, but if you get loopy, I'll try. Well, you know, verbally slap me around, because I spend enough time on the site formerly known as Twitter that I'm pretty inured to it. As I was saying, we've got Bianca is our thief, and she's going to be running point as we work through the wilderness, and I'm just going to have a party order for both wilderness and in the dungeons. But I was thinking about this. Here's what we want to do. We're going to do things a little bit different today because I realized that as we go through this, we've got our 2 paladins, Jeff Capes and Swolgar Beefman. Now, Swolgar Beefman he's gonna anchor our offensive line here, okay? He's running center for us. Wait, Swolgar is a fighter. So I got that wrong already. We're going to go ahead and send, you know what, Jeff, you are the center of our offensive line. And then we're going to put Swolgar and Willikin. Well, what do we want Willikin? He's got the short bow. Here's the deal. Jeff and Sir Argoth have protection from evil, like always on in 10 feet. So I kind of don't want to put them both in the front line. Know what I'm saying? Now, Willikin are the wield, and so that's why I think we're going to go with a two line deep here. Willikin has a spear, so he can attack over that first rank. And then Argoth is going to go here. So Argoth is our other paladin. I'll put a little paladin, fighter. And then, fortunately, we do have our cleric who will bring up the rear. He's ready. That's Ho Lehman. And then we've got our 3 wizards. And we're going to put our shooty wizard with magic missile, that's Ronnie Dio, right in the center. We want to be able to have Morcar, he's got the shocking grasp on one flank, and Dinky Rizzle is going to be over here on the left flank. So there's our marching order. regardless of whether we're indoors or we're out, with Bianca far enough forward to do us some good. Do we have on a roll of a 1? We do not. So we're going to get through the night. We're going to wake up, and we are going to be able to move into the Tomb of the Moneylenders. And it looks a little something like this. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer so we can see a little bit more detail here. I goofed up on the random, this is why I call it a roguelike. Our random counter, I should have started in a room. I started in an unusual shaped chamber. Discretion must prevail. There is you can barely make out, there's a curve here. This is to get into this cave, I guess there's a stone slab that you gotta heave off, and then you descend down into the depths. At this point, I will also point out, Dinky has the light spell. He will be carrying our light source. And then I think that's it for us. We want to make sure that Ronnie and Morcar, as our Boom Boom mages, have their hands free to be able to drop those spells when we hit them. This has been a fairly straightforward dungeon so far. A lot of small little rooms. In this room, we ran into a badger. Now here's the question I have for you guys. And I'll take a little bit to Vamp. Is our second badger in this room? Remember, we got ambushed by those 2 badgers. And at the time it was, even today it's like, your guys got absolutely trashed by a badger. Well, all right, in our defense, we only had 1 fighter. And was it the 1 fighter that trashed him? I don't remember now. I do have some notes here. We can check. Return to Corvusberg. Oh, badger fight. Yeah, on the 17th. So, the fighter is resting from the badger fight. But this room had a lot of loot in it. And I kind of think what happened is it's kind of shadowy. It's dark. Our boys are they're a little too focused on the treasure. And as they're gathering it up, a badger walks up. They're city boys, right? These are not country boys. They don't know what they're doing out here. And they're like, "Aw, look, a kitty." And then the badgers go full, red wall on them and completely jack them up. We killed the female of the pair, and the male ran off. And he was left with, I think I have it written down here, 9 hit points. Now, he will be all healed up, and the question is he still present in this room? If he is, we're going to have to fight him. And this door, first time we ran, these first set of doors are all well-oiled. This door is a tricky one. Somebody pointed out, why are you bashing these doors down with a fighter with 12 strength? You have a thief. Why don't you have Bianca try to pick that lock? And there's a couple of different answers for that. One is that I'm not what you'd call smart, so I forgot about that. In fact, I even forgot about the fact that all these doors kind of lock you out. The other reason is, I'm trying to run 10 guys here. Give me a break, would you? Open locks is going to be a 25% chance. Bianca gives it a shot, and with a 17, she picks that lock. Now, what that means is, because we haven't failed to bash the door down, we have the opportunity to get the drop on our 9 hit point badger. We won't be surprised because we know there's likely a badger in there, but I will check for surprise for Mr. Badger, and I think it's worth hunting him down because he does have a pelt that's worth 10 to 30. And by the way, I'm going to put down, this is where we keep track of our time. So there's our first torch. We're in our first 10 minutes. We can move through here relatively quickly. Now we're going to roll to see if Mr. Badger is surprised. And on a 6, he is not. So we bash in the door, and in this case, Bianca's going to... We're going to send Bianca to the back here. She's going to slide into this we got to put her in the back with Ho Lehman, don't we? So Bianca now moves to the back, and it's going to be Swolgar, Jeff, and Willikin on the attack with Argoth standing back. Badgers are not evil, regardless of whatever propaganda you may have heard. We get a 6 for our initiative. The Badger gets a 3. So we are going to be able to score these 3 attacks on the Badger. And probably would have been a good idea to have Badger ready to go here in the monster manual. But I turned right to it because I'm smooth like that. So we got an armor class of 4. We got 3 attacks with the fighter types. And we're just going to go 1, 2, 3. So we get a hit from Swolgar. We get a armor class of 4. That's going to be a miss for Jeff. And Willikin with his spear is going to be a miss. Swolgar gets the hit. And he is going to, since there's only 1 enemy, he's going to hit with a broadsword and do 2 to 8 damage. Does he have any bonuses? Swolgar has a, yeah, oh boy, does he. He's got +2 to hit, and he's got +3 damage. So if we can roll 6 on our damage, there's a 2, and there's a 4, so we do 9 points of damage, and that is going to be 1 9-hit point badger in the books. 9-hit point badger, and then, so that's for XP purposes. I'll probably do the math for experience points afterwards. Now, I do have to mention this. Because Swolgar one-hit critted, because he soloed, let me solo the Badger. Yeah, I get it. All of those experience points are going to go to Swolgar. If you are solo killing a monster, you get full XP for it. There's no money in here. There's no loot. We already ran off with that. So we have a left and a right passage. And shout it out in the chat. Are we going left? Are we going right? And again, I think I got excited and I didn't finish the thought. This line here is the edge of the hill. If we hit the edge of the hill, we are going to ignore that result and bend around the side of the hill, except we can do a little mini game here. And for those of you that think you're going to get cute, you're going to catch me out. Oh, I thought you played the game by the rules, Mr. Wargaming. How come you're not using the rules? Right here. In italics. Wait, is it in italics? Yeah. Discretion must prevail at all times. Discretion, that is by the books. And, you know, at this point, left or right? Let me hear it in the chat, guys. At this point, I do want to point out one thing. I got, first up is, rest in peace, Badger. You will be stalked by the ghost of the naked... Well, we killed both of them. Left it is! So we're going this way. I'll write that down. I want to point something out here. Let me pause in our roguelike. This may cost me in the long run, but for Appendix A, I want to point something out here. This is one of those passages. Discretion must prevail at all times. For example, now that's here in Random Dungeon Generation. So we have an example where Gary says, by the way, these are a guideline. When it comes to the random monster tables, these are a guideline. There are a whole host of areas in these rule books where Gary stops and he says, by the way, this section, use it as a guide. You don't feel strictly bound by these rules. He says that in some of them, but not in all of them. If you're playing this game by the rules, and I think that's important. I don't think enough conversation has been had around the digital water cooler that the existence of sections of the rules where you're explicitly told, think about what you're doing and adjust it as needed, necessarily means the other areas that doesn't apply. I think it's a safe inference. And because you have these rules, it's very easy to come up with campaigns that differ. People will play this game differently because there are sections that say, change it to suit your needs at the time. The same thing is true, and we touched on this. The same thing is true for, oh, you know what we could do though? Badgers have a treasure type of, oh, nil. That's the other reason we don't have any treasure. Gary also mentions that here, number appearing is a good average spread. Use it as a guideline only. All right, yeah, so, you know, we've got those sections. Use it as a guideline. If we make some changes, for example, we have a bear, a cave bear, with 8 hit dice, despite the fact, and I'm showing you my work, oh, cave bears have 6 plus 6 hit dice. No, Big Owen has 7. And there's a reason for that I'm not going to go into. But that's just a little mini rant for you. We're going left. We're going down the hallway, and all we know right now is it goes 10 feet down the hall. We take a breath. You know, we skin the badger, so that's badger pelt. And let me write that down too. Badger pelt. We're gonna pass the badger pelt off. We're not gonna give that necessarily to Swolgar. We're badger exterminators. Right, so appendices. So we're right back here, and we have to go to side. Is this a side passage? Chamber shape. It says exit location, exit direction, And then, now we go back to our periodic check. The one that we always come back to. We go 30 feet down the corridor. We are back to our original marching order. Bianca's out front. Okay, she's just at the edge of the firelight, maybe a little beyond it, so she can see what's going on. And she reports that on a result of an 8, we have a side passage. Check on table 3. That's a D20 here. 5, we have a turn left 45 degrees ahead. So we go 30 feet, and we go left, 45, but there's something else we have to do. There's left 45 degrees, it's 45 degrees ahead, so it goes something like this. And then, look, so this is where I got into my train of thought, and bang, we're gonna run into the edge of the map. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll. Here's my little mini game for discretion must apply at all times. There is a chance that there is a secret door that will give us another exit to the dungeon right here at this dead end. So we've dead ended at the side of the hill, and we're going to check. And on a result of a 1, there's that secret door, and now we have another exit. We don't. So that's a pure dead end where they just stopped. So I'm going to put little hash marks here. Kind of, what's his name? Dyson from Dyson's Dodecahedron, the map guy. And we're going to have to go down, and I'm just going to say, yeah, let's go this way. Every 10, now bear in mind, we have a movement speed of 90, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is going to put us on our, so we used 1 torch to fight. This is our 2nd torch we're on now, and we're going to have to burn our 3rd torch. We have a total of 18 of them. So once we get to 18, we got a bolt. 30 feet down the corridor, we check again. So that's 10, 20, 30, and I know it's diagonal, so it's kind of like, it gets a little weird with distances, but whatever, you get the idea. Back to our periodic check. Rolling a D20. Let's see. Secret door leads down to a stairs down below. That's a good point, Mr. Blue. Was it what? Let's address that. This is a 1-level dungeon unless we encounter stairs. This is our mini dungeon to get comfortable with the dungeon rules. Hopefully there's enough loot in here. Once we completely sack this page, if we don't find any stairs down, the dungeon is over, and we're going to have to go to the mega dungeon. We're going to have to go back to the ligmatic cloister of the Bofahart. All right, so I've said it. We got it, man. We lock it down. 1 level unless we actually encounter stairs. Periodic check. Number 2, we get a continue straight check again in 60 feet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's going to put us right here. And we have 30 more feet of exploration. Remember, we're creeping along. We get a door. We're creeping along. We're checking for traps. We're doing all the things we need to do. We have 30 more feet of movement. Now, I know 90 feet. I think we're moving at 90 feet, aren't we? Do we have any Pokeboys? 999, 999. Holy Man is... Oh, you know what? All right, Holy Man only moves at 60 feet. So that means 1, 2... So we fought here for 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 1 torch. 1, and then we searched. That's another torch. And then we went 1, 2... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's torch number 4. 1, 2, 3. So we're halfway through. We're 5 minutes into our 4th torch. When we encounter a door, and we have to find out which wall the door is on. On a 3, the door is on the left wall, which is this wall. So the passage. Door. Continue straight. Side passage. Door. Check again immediately unless the door is straight ahead. If another door is not indicated, ignore the result. And yeah, so we have a door right here. And I'm going to do an awkward little edit there for where the door is. So at the end of this 60-foot corridor, the passage beyond the door, rolling a D20. And on a 17, we have a room. Go to table V. It's a D20 on both of these. We're going to use this column. That's the column for chamber. we're going to use this one. All of the exits are doors. Roll a d20 for size, and we get an 8. So it's going to be another one of these teeny tiny... Oh, no, it's kind of a big one here. We got a square room, 40 by 40 feet. And the door will be... I'm going to roll a d4 to find out how far we should shift the door that way. If it's a 1, then the room is shifted completely. And on a 4, we'll shift it completely that way. So 30 feet that way means we only have 10 feet coming off. And then this is going to come back, so there's going to be 10, 20, 30, and about 40 feet is about right there. And if you look, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we're so close. I'm going to leave just enough room for a 10-foot passage between this room and the original chamber that we entered into the dungeon. But we're not done, because we have drawing the room that we have here. Did we pick the lock to get in? On an 89, we did not. So now we have to try to bash it. And to do that, we need our D6, because we are going to rely on... Well, here's something funny. Swolgar Beefman is our strongest boy. So Swolgar is going to be the door kicker. Bianca falls back. She says, I can't hear nothings. And Swolgar says, let me at him, bro. He's got an 1874. He's going to bash it in. And on a result of a 4... I think that's good. Let's check the chat. Is there a bas relief at the end of the corridor? No. Is there a bas? No inscriptions? No. Would adding a dead end detailed table to reduce true dead ends fall under discretion must prevail? Asks Mr. Blue. I suppose so. There are some rules in here that I'm not really familiar with for secret doors. Whether they exist or not, and there's a little bit of debate going on about how to interpret those rules. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I generally say there's no secret doors unless you think there's a chance for a secret door, and that's where this comes in. If we don't have a door in this wall, if we find a door, like if you have two rooms that are immediately adjacent to each other, yeah, there's probably a secret door. Let's roll. And, if you don't find one, there's not one there. Once again, I have to point out, we're doing an analog roguelike. We're letting the dice determine what's going on. The idea of secrets and hidden knowledge that, maybe we missed something back here, that's not up to us. That's up to the dice. Maybe, if we find a treasure map in another dungeon, and we can say, that treasure map reveals a secret door that we missed, then we can come back here. But you have to have some kind of rationale or justification other than, I'm not done delving. Does that make sense? I think that's fair. I think that's enough to keep you on your toes. And, in a normal campaign, secrets and exploring and the mystery are baked into the nature of the fact that one guy has the map behind the screen that you can't see. For us, the mystery comes about with every die roll. We're sitting here looking at this world that is formless. It's just probabilities. It's in a quantum state of uncertainty. And so with every die roll, we make a little bit more of the world more certain. I don't think we need to assume that there are secrets we haven't uncovered here to achieve the same sense of mystery and exploration. Hopefully that explains my rationale in thinking on this, and keeps things interesting while we do the somewhat tedious number of exits. And we're going to roll on that table, and for a room of, it's up to 1,600. In this case, our room area is up to 1,600. We're going to have 0. But check once per 10 feet for secret doors. Gee, there it is. See table VD footnote. If a passage or door is indicated where the space immediately beyond the wall has already been mapped, then the exit is either a secret door, one-way door, or is in the opposite direction. Wait a minute. If a passage or door is indicated where the space has been mapped, okay. This is what you have to do when you run into a space where you've got a door that's leading into another area. However, are we over? No, 40 by 40 is 1600. So we actually have 0 exits in this room. This room is now a dead end, and it looks like we have solid space all the way around. Okay. However, if the room was 50 by 50, then or this is where discretion comes in. If I had rolled a little bit bigger, call it a room. Oh, it wouldn't be a room. It'd have to be a chamber. If it was 30 by 50, yeah, I would absolutely link that up. And now I've got 30 feet of space where there are 3 chances for a secret door. And if a door is indicated, but I'd have to hit this result of 0 exits, but I've got 30 feet of space that's sharing. Check 3 times. Bingo, bango, bongo. That middle section has a secret door, and that's where I roll on this little mini chart in the footnote, and on a result of a 16, it would be a one-way door in the opposite direction. So that means that there would have to be a concealed door that we didn't know about going this way. I know about it, my characters don't. Whatever. What's in the room? Let's find out. Chamber or room contents. Rolling on a 7. It's gonna be empty. Wah, wah. All right, that's all right. That's all right. So we look around, we take a turn. Oh, no, this is, I'm sorry, I got it wrong again. 5. And now we're going to move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and you know what? You can move at a much greater speed. So we've burned our first torch. I forgot. Torches last for 6 turns. And I've got lots of torches. I think I've got like 3 guys with 6 torches each. So that's torch number 1 just before it goes out. We walk back to here, and now we are at this passage looking to see, well, it goes 30 feet. Boom, 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 10, 20, 30. And then we have to find out what Bianca discovers. On a result of a 10, we have a side passage. Check again in 30 feet. Oh my goodness, we have our second dead end. Maybe we have a secret door. And we do, look at that, we have another exit from the dungeon. Bianca says, guys, I spent 10 minutes looking and I found a secret door. So I don't know what that means at this point. There's what that secret door looks like, and fundamentally I don't care. I'm playing a dice game, not a whole lot of role-playing stuff going on here. That's fine, don't worry about it. We're doing something a little different. But one thing I do want to point out is, if I was sitting across a DM screen from a party, from like real live people, in the, what has it been, like 10 minutes, we've sketched out a room, a couple of dead ends, we know there's a secret door here. What you do is you just like roll the dice and say, oh guys, I think you hear something. What do you want to do? And then while they're making plans for the nothing that's about to happen, you can roll up the next 5 or 6 rooms. We are no prep supremacists here. When you prep as a DM, you're inclined to steer the players towards the thing that you prepped. With no prep, there's no pressure on your players. Guys, do what you want. We only have 1 more exit, and we have to find out which way the side passage goes. That means rolling on table 3. It is a passage at X's. Oh my goodness. So we actually have a second corridor over here, and on a 1 and 6, and that dead ends too. So maybe this is an old mine, but we do have, oh, look at that. We actually encounter space over here. Right, so where are we at? Well, we have hit a passage that crosses over this passage. We checked for secret doors here, and now here's where it gets fun. We checked, we gotta retcon this a little bit. This passage hits right here, and we checked and we didn't find a secret door. Well, now there's space beyond that wall. We gotta check on this side. It says if it's indicated in a wall where the space beyond has already been mapped, then the exit is either a secret door, so let's roll. On a 1 through 5, and that's where this really comes in, it is a secret door. So the Lord is smiling down on me. Look at that. There is a secret door here. Do we find it? And on a result of a 3, we don't. but we do waste another 20 minutes looking for it. You know what I forgot? We're supposed to check for random encounters every hour. I'm a little bit behind. Let me check. On a 1, I got a 5. No wandering monsters. How about that? Mr. Blue says, well, what about secret doors? And this is how secret doors work in this kind of exercise. We checked. We didn't find a secret door. If we had found it, we would have been mapping in this direction. So this is all space that we can fill in now. There's nothing here. But because we came at it from the other direction, now we do know there's a secret door, but this is not found. So I'm going to put a note there. Our party does not know about that secret door. We can't use that to sneak around behind anyone. And we're at this passage here. On a result of a 1, continue straight, check again. So we're going to advance slowly another 30, 60 feet. And then we're going to check again. And on a result of a 19, we have a trick or a trap. Passage continues another 30 feet. So here's our passage. And we have a trick or a trap. Oh, exciting times. Here's the receipts. Trick or trap. See table VII. Table VII. Trick or a trap. Treasure is guarded by... Wait, no, that's VI. Where's VII? Here we go. D20. Something fun and exciting. And I'm going to roll the die. And before we take a look at the result, I'm going to check and see if you guys have anything to offer in the live chat. Ignoramus in the dungeon at last. Yeah. I was just thinking that hall was the perfect place for a trap. It is. They get you either way you're going. So number 17 is going to be gas. Party has detected it, but must breathe it to continue along the corridor as it covers 60 feet ahead. Mark the map accordingly, regardless of whether turning back or not. So we go another 30 feet, and this is our gas. We've detected it, but we have to decide now. Do we want to go through it? Is there any notes on that? Gas. Party is the C table VIIA. So here's our gas subtable. Let's take a look at the odds here. Only effect is obscuring vision. It blinds for 1 to 6 turns. It's 10 minutes to an hour on a 10 through 12. Fear. Run back 120 feet unless saving throw versus magic. And sleep. Party sound asleep for 20 minutes to 2 hours. And that's going to be on a 13. And then at the top of the table, we've got strength, sickness, or poison. Killed unless saving throw versus poison is made. All right, fellas. I don't know what this gas does. But I do know if it's poison gas, like whatever happens, we're going to have to go back through it. We do not have to detect traps. It says in the description, the party is aware of it. What we do have to do, now again, if we were doing a standard DM and players, the DM would make this roll in secret. And then, so in fact, let's do that. I'm going to ask the chat, should we chance it or should we run back home? All we've managed to do is get Swolgar a little bit of experience points. His first experience points from the looks of it. And 10 to 30 gold pieces. We've got a 5% chance of having a save or die. Now, I'm not too worried about the sickness. If I get the sickness, it'll be fun. We get to break out the sickness tables. Also, I've got 2 paladins in the party. I think they're immune to sickness, aren't they? I know they can cure sickness once per week, but that will kick us over into some fun 1-to-1 time stuff. The ability to lay on hands, immunity to all forms of disease. Our paladins are +2 on the saving throw. I'm going to roll the die, and I'm going to roll it under the book. And then I'm going to check the chat to find out whether we risk it for the biscuit. Are we going to risk it to get sick of it? There's probably a thing. Do it. No guts, no glory. Press it. Chance it. Send one person first. That's pretty diabolical. The torches are going to ignite it. How come that's not on the table? Hold your breath and run through. Now we get to fall in the pit that's hidden in the gas. Oh man, you guys are evil. I love it. We're going in. We're going in, and on a 7, the only effect is obscuring vision. Okay, so gas obscures vision. Hey, one thing I want to point out, if we get into a situation where we have to flee from danger, if we run away because we run into something that we can't handle, the good news is having this secret door up here in the northeast corner of the map means we're going to be able to shave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 240 feet off of our flight. That ain't nothing, fellas. That could be the difference between living and dying. We chanced it. We went through the gas. I'm going to put a 5 here. And we're back to stairs. No, not stairs. That's the wrong page. Periodic check. On an 18, dead end. Walls left, right, and ahead can be checked for secret doors. Interesting. So we blunder into another dead end. And we can check left, right, and side. So dead end, see table VD for footnote, exit location. If a passage is indicated in a wall where the space beyond can be checked for secrets. Okay, so we got a little bit of an interpretation here. We don't have a passage or a door indicated because I think we're at the end of this dungeon. I think that's it. I think we need to roll a 17 on our periodic check. And despite rolling 20 of them, we didn't get that 17. I think we're done. I think that's the Tomb of the Moneylenders, guys. The way I interpret this, they can be checked for secret doors, but the footnote says, if a passage or door is indicated where in a wall where the space beyond the wall has been mapped, but we haven't mapped the space beyond the wall, I think we're done. Rules as written. Where does it say if you flee through a secret door, pursuit stops? It's called adventuring for a reason. Well, that's a great question. Pursuit doesn't stop. Pursuit would, well, I'll tell you what happens in that case, I think. Let's see if we can answer this question, kind of, by looking at the table of contents. There are 2 different sets of rules that you follow for pursuit. One of them is for outdoor, and one of them is for indoor. And I'm not seeing it right now. And so I think the better way to phrase that, thank you for the back check, is to say, if you're being pursued in the dungeon, then once you get outside, you have to kind of like reset the situation. Remember that we've got a guy that's running at 60 feet per turn, per round, I guess you should say. And the way pursuit works in the dungeon, we'll go right to it, I guess. Avoiding, I was looking at this just before we started because it's very interesting. Basically, where is it? It's a fun little mini game where you actually have 3 movement rounds per combat round. And in each of those movement rounds, you will move at full speed. And so for us, that means basically what you do is if we're being you set how far away is our encounter. Let's work through an example. We're 100 feet away from the people that are pursuing us. And we had a little bit of like advance notice because of Bianca. Let's say that for the sake of the example. That means that we run, they pursue. If they're moving 30 feet faster than us, then in that first of the 3 segments, they'll close the gap to 70 feet. And then we go, and remember, this is over, so wherever it is, this is over, we have to figure, okay, so we move 60, they move 90, they've closed the gap. We repeat that little check. We move another 60, they close the gap. They're 40 feet away. We move another 60. Now they're only 10 feet away, which technically means they caught us, because if you're within 10 feet, you can initiate melee. Kind of. I would say that if you're just at 10 feet, you roll for initiative, and if they get the initiative, kablam, you're caught. But if we were to get the initiative in that case, we would move into the outdoors, and now our mini game kicks over from runaway in the dungeon to pursuit and evasion outdoors. And essentially what that means is, if you are in a situation where you are running away from someone who is going to catch you, by making it to the exit, you bought yourself a little bit of a do-over. You're still in trouble, but at least you get to kick into that, well, can we evade them outdoors? And I think that depends a little bit on the terrain. If we're in a dungeon where, like we say, discretion must prevail, right? If you're in a dungeon in the plains, if there's like a castle ruin, they're going to be able to see you. But given where we are today, because we're in the hills, there is a chance that we can make it around the next hill. There's a chance that we can evade. Alternatively, if we get outside first, we may be able to reset and set up an ambush. You know, if we stop and they come barging out, we may be able to get like a surprise round or two. Discretion must prevail. We'll talk about that. I'll offer some possibilities and let you guys in the chat tell me where we're at. So let's check the chat. Speaking of which, it's done for now. In a few months, someone might move in and start renovating the dungeon, says Mr. Blue. That's a fair point. I firmly believe there's a secret door behind that obscuring gas, but since your eyes are severely obscured, you can't locate it unless you do something spectacular. Dartmart says, don't you check the left and right walls as well for secret entrances? It's possible for men of goodwill to come to differ on how they read this. In the periodic check, it says left, right, and ahead can be checked for secret doors. Okay. So if you're looking at this in a vacuum, then yeah, you could roll, and there's a 1 in 6 chance. Well, if you're an elf, I guess it's a 1 in 3 chance on each side that there's a secret door. However, it does say, see the footnote in table VD. And the footnote in VD begins with, it's Roman numeral 5, it's 5D. That footnote says, if a passage or door is indicated in a wall where the space beyond it has been mapped. So I'm reading this to say, look, if you have a dead end that butts up against a room that or a passage you've already indicated, then there is an exit, and it's either a door. You can check to see what kind it is. So because we haven't mapped any space here, there's no door. If we had another room that we'd already indicated was right here, then we would check to see what kind of passage is here. But we don't. We just have, maybe this slopes down a little bit, and you've got some gas that's gone down and kind of collected in this low point. As it is, I think we're done with this dungeon. I think the Tomb of the Moneylenders is over, and we're going to be doing a lot more wilderness adventure, because the only other dungeon that I have is way over here in the mountains. That's over in this hex. The only other alternative, so there's the center. This is the Ligmatic Cloister. The only other alternative we have is, this is our 6 mile hexes for adventuring and exploring, and we found the Tomb of the Moneylenders here. We encountered Big Owen in this hex. We encountered 70 berserkers in this hex, but they were just passing through. So the only other thing I think we can do is move down and explore this hex and see if we find anything. The only other way that you would find a dungeon is to find a lair. And in order to find a lair, you have to do some exploring overland, get that random encounter, and then when you find the encounter, roll your percent chance for lairs. If it's a lair, then I interpret the lair to be, a thematic dungeon. If we run into Big Owen, we found Big Owen's cave. and we may kick over to the random table with discretion might apply, instead of having these nice straight line arrows for this dungeon. We might do some more, typical squiggly, okay, it's a room about yay big, and there's a passage that does like that. And maybe, remember, Big Owen is a cave bear. He's effectively a dinosaur. That's the whole point of cave bears, is that they're... scientists in the chat can tell you exactly what kind he is. He's a creature out of time. Somehow, he wound up thrust well, wait a minute, because this is post-apocalyptic world. Maybe it's a dying Earth style setting. He's 1 billion years in his future. He's going to land in a place that follows the same bizarre rules, the same rules of the mythic underworld as everywhere else. Oops, spoiler alert. There's our ligmatic. Wait, yeah, there's our ligmatic cloister. I have a map for the surface area, which is required by the rules as written, but I can't find my map of this dungeon. Yeah, so we're done. So now the question becomes: we're gonna bail on the dungeon, and we come out into the hills. We're right here, and we can move basically half a hex per day. So and we have enough food. Now we have only used like 1-2 days of our food. We moved about here, so we're on the hex counter, and this is where we're going to make camp. Because we're not in safety, because we're in the hills, we have to check for encounters twice. Well, we check 3 times a day. We check in the morning, in the evening, and overnight. If we were going back to the safety of our village... Oh, wait, where's... 1... Yeah, so we can actually get into this hex and wander around for a little while. So we're going to check, and we don't find anything. It's a 1 in 10 chance. And that puts us basically right here, and we have to make camp. And then we're going to see, did we get ambushed overnight? We do not. So let's move south one more time and see if we can make it to the old road. And we don't encounter anything in the morning. It's now lunchtime. We're going to have some lunch. And let's follow the road and move into this area. And we're going to check in the evening. Do we find anything in the afternoon? We do not. So we set up camp, and do we have anything overnight? We don't. So we'll move back to this road, and I think it's important to put some dates down on the map. We set out on the 21st. We did our delve. So on the 21st, we moved, let's see, this was to here. We did our delve on the 22nd, and then we moved to here, and we explored on the 23rd. This is the night of the 24th, and now on the 25th, and this is important because we only have a week of food. So on the 25th, we're going to move back to the road, and we don't have any random encounters here either. So we're going to go back to town. That's going to bring us to, we did the 22nd was the delve, 23rd, 24th, 25th. I think we get back here on the 26th. And that was a bit of a bust, if you ask me. The cave bear is not a dinosaur, says... who's saying that? Crap phone. Dinosaur is literally terrible lizard. No mammals need apply. I meant dinosaur in the literary sense, not the scientific sense. I meant a dinosaur in the same sense that I'm 50 years old. That makes me a dinosaur. The cave bear is young for a cave bear, but again, I'm rationalizing. You know what? Let's not be that guy. You're right. Cave bear's not a dinosaur. He's a cave bear. Like a caveman, but a bear. And I think we're done. The last thing, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and roll my D6, if I can find it, to see how much we get for that badger pelt. We're going to hawk it, and we get 30 gold for... So let's go ahead and do experience live on camera here. I got a few more minutes. How long have we been going? Are we going for like an hour? That's pretty good. I'm impressed. You guys are better than Benadryl at putting a halt to my allergy. So we're at 1 + 2. So the base is 20 plus 2 experience per hit points. There was one other thing I'm forgetting. So that's 38 experience points to Swolgar for soloing a badger. But in retrospect, one of the things we should do here on camera is read the description. There's a very rare variety of badger, which is twice the size. They are otherwise identical. Oh. If more than one is encountered, it'll be a mated pair. They're fierce fighters. Yeah, so there's no real special abilities there, but we need to start looking at those. The giant badger, it's not a giant badger because that wasn't indicated in our random checks. Now, we also get 30 gold pieces for selling our pelt, and because we had a total of 9 guys, everybody gets 3 experience points. Wow. And they all get 3, well, let's see, it's going to be 3 with 3 left over. I'll divvy those up later. Let's not spend all that gold in one place. One thing I will point out, that Jeff Capes, because he's going to have to spend some money, I think, how much is it going to cost to replace our food? Miscellaneous equipment, provisions, rations for a week is 3 gold pieces. All right. So, while we're in town, we don't burn any rations. That's part of our 100 gold per month upkeep. We used a week of food. We got to replenish it. We get 3 experience points. We got 3 gold left over. I'll figure out who to give that to. He's going to get a bonus of 3 experience points. And it's a bit of a grind, guys. But I feel good. We got this one out of the way. I think we're going to go explore these woods next time. This is Hilly Woods. Down here, we're looking for another encounter. We're going to stay close to home so we can run away when all of our fighters get killed. But otherwise, did you guys have a good time? How useful was this? I'm a little surprised we rolled 5 random encounter checks and didn't hit a single number 1. I know the odds are 1 in 10, but you know, it seems like the kind of thing we needed. Crap Phone says, I figured we need a smart aleck in here. I'm with you at 67, says Crap Phone. That was a pretty killer pelt. Premium badger pelt. You know, if we had more money, I would have kept it, and our 2 paladins would have had like badger pelt plumes or like cloaks, and we could go full Wisconsin on this, right? I'm wondering if we should have called this the Whiskey Lands. It is college football season, right? Plunge right through that line. Yeah, Honey Badger didn't care. We can get to level 2, says Crap Phone, if we just kill 499 more badgers. Yeah. Fun to watch. Gotta say, even though this is a grind, it's weirdly fun. We're exploring, we're learning, and remember, I always like to point out, yep, the Berserkers. If we run into Berserkers again, there's a good chance we found their fort. I do like to point out that we're exploring this together. And now we know there's no layers in these 4 hexes. Maybe we go ahead and race up to the grasslands and see what we can find. That's another alternative. Or do we just risk it? Do we go ahead and shoot for the Ligmatic Cloister? Right? See if we have any more encounters over the road. Right? It's like 2 or 3 checks to get there, and then 2 or 3 most. Hey, Charles Latour is in the house. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Remember, guys, I'm praying for you. I'm kidding, but only slightly. Thanks for coming along for the ride, guys. Kind of a bust, kind of a grind. Oh, I know what I was going to say. This is like everything else. You grind and you grind and you grind, and a lot of time goes by where nothing happens, but it's kind of like that old saw. If you're not failing, you're not trying. And every time you go out and explore a dungeon, every time you wander the wilderness and you fail to hit that big loot, don't think of that as wasted time. What you did is you got the failures out of the way and you took the steps necessary to get to a successful delve. And there's one last thing, I'll be honest with you. One thing that I'm a little disappointed in is that we haven't lost a single PC yet. We've had some people take hit. Well, that's not really true. We had a TPK, but that was a little weird, right? We haven't had a situation where we had to abandon anybody to their fates yet. With these guys, we're on like our 4th or 5th adventure out from the village. We haven't lost anybody yet. I'm a little surprised. This game has a reputation as being a meat grinder. So much so that I named my first mega dungeon Castle Meat Grinder. And I kind of regret not calling the mega dungeon here Castle Meat Grinder, but whatever. Just so we can kind of blend old and new together. But the point is, this game isn't as deadly as you think it is. It may be that the game is far deadlier when played by people who aren't playing the full game. That once you factor in all of the rules for evasion and talking and all the rest of it, by playing the Rule Zero version of AD&D, by tossing out all of the stuff that weird, smelly nerds don't do because it makes them feel bad that they're not as smart as they built up in their head, by plugging those back in, we have created a situation where it's harder to find the big haul, but it's also harder, not quite 5th edition hard, but it's harder to lose a dude. There's a lot of ways to keep your guys alive. There's a lot of ways to not fight in this game. This is really teaching me that the murder hobo reputation is also undeserved. There is so much conventional wisdom in this hobby of ours that just ain't so, and I'm glad to have you along as we put paid to some of those lies. Till next time, full adventure, no theory, let's just get stuck in. I'm praying for you.